The rain-slicked alley behind the dive bar reeked of stale beer and regret. And that's when Alex grabbed my collar, his breath hot against my neck as he whispered, "No one will know." His lips crashed into mine like a storm I'd been chasing my whole life, tasting of whiskey and secrets we'd buried since high school. In that instant, the world cracked open, and I fell, not just into the kiss, but into the abyss of everything we'd pretended wasn't there. I remember the exact second it started, though it feels like a lifetime ago now. We were 17, crammed into the back of my beat-up Ford pickup under a canopy of stars that seemed too big for our nowhere town in upstate New York. Alex had just broken up with his latest girlfriend, some cheerleader named Brittany who'd called him too intense, before ghosting him at prom. He was sprawled across the seat, one boot kicked up on the dash, nursing a warm beer he'd swiped from his dad's garage fridge. I was driving us nowhere, just looping the back roads to kill time before curfew, the radio crackling with some old Springsteen tune about Thunder Roads and glory days. "Dude, why do girls always bail?" he asked, his voice slurring just enough to sound vulnerable. Alex was the golden boy, tall, broad-shouldered, with that effortless charm that made teachers overlook his skipped classes and made girls blush in the hallways. Me? I was the sidekick, Jamie the quiet one, the guy who fixed his truck when it broke down and covered for him when he snuck out. We were inseparable, the kind of best friends who finished each other's sentences and shared everything except the one truth I kept locked in my chest like a loaded gun. I shrugged, eyes on the dark ribbon of highway unspooling ahead. "Maybe you're just too much for him, like trying to hold a wildfire in your hands." It was a lame joke, but he laughed that deep, rumbling laugh that always made my stomach flip in ways I hated admitting even to myself. He sat up, twisting to face me, his knee bumping mine in the tight space. "Nah, it's me. I think I'm broken or something." His eyes, those hazel eyes that could shift from mischievous to stormy in a heartbeat, locked on mine. The truck's headlights carved shadows across his face, making him look older, haunted. "You ever feel like that, Jay? Like there's this thing inside you that's gonna swallow you whole if you don't let it out?" My grip tightened on the wheel. I wanted to say yes, God yes, because every night I lay awake replaying the way his hand lingered on my shoulder after a game, or how he'd crash at my place and we'd talk until dawn, bodies inches apart under the same blanket. But I was the good son, the one headed to community college on a partial scholarship, the one who volunteered at the local shelter because my mom said it built character. Coming out in a town where the pride flag was more likely to get burned than flown, that was a one-way ticket to whispers and sideways glances that followed you forever. Instead, I forced a grin. "You're not broken, man. You're just... Alex, that's enough." He punched my arm lightly, the contact sending sparks up my spine, and we drove on in that comfortable silence that best friends share, the kind laced with unspoken what-ifs. Fast forward 8 years, and here we were in Brooklyn, the city that promised reinvention but delivered chaos instead. I'd scraped by with a journalism degree from NYU, hustling freelance gigs that barely covered my shoebox apartment in Bushwick. Alex, he'd chased his dream to the FDNY, trading our small-town boredom for the sirens and smoke of the big city. We still talk daily, met up for beers at our old haunt, the Rusty Anchor, a grimy spot off Atlantic Avenue where the jukebox played too loud and the bartender didn't ask questions. That night, the one that shattered everything, started like any other. It was a humid July evening, the kind where the air clings to your skin like a bad decision. I'd been dodging calls from my editor about a puff piece on local artists, nursing a headache from too many late nights scrolling through Grindr profiles I never messaged. Alex texted at 8 p.m, bar. Now, need to vent. No emojis, no bullshit, just him. I showed up in my usual jeans and faded Mets tee, weaving through the crowd of after-work suits and hipsters nursing IPAs. He was at our corner booth, hunched over a half-empty pint, his Firehouse polo stretched tight across his shoulders. The scar on his jaw, from a warehouse blaze 2 years back, caught the neon glow from the Budweiser sign, making him look like a character from one of those gritty cop shows we binged as kids. Rough shift. I slid into the seat across from him, signaling the waitress for a round. He didn't look up right away, just traced the condensation on his glass with a callous thumb. Worse, Saw a kid today, 10, maybe 11. Pulled him from a car wreck on the BQE. Parents didn't make it. His voice was low, gravelly, the weight of it pressing down like the summer storm brewing outside. He just kept asking for them, like I could magic them back. I reached across the table, squeezing his forearm before I could stop myself. His skin was warm, rough from the ropes and axes of his job, and for a split second, our eyes met in that old way, raw, unguarded. Hey, you saved him. That's what matters. You're the hero here, not the Grim Reaper. He snorted, but there was no humor in it. Hero, right? That's what they say at the station. But at night, it all piles up, Jay. The what-ifs, the faces you can't unsee. He drained his beer, slamming the glass down harder than intended. The table rattled, drawing a glance from the couple nearby. And then there's other shit. I leaned in, voice dropping to match his. Spill it. You know you can tell me anything. He hesitated, jaw clenching like he was chewing on broken glass. The bar's noise swelled around us. Laughter, clinking glasses, some guy belting out karaoke. But in our bubble, it was just the two of us, suspended. Finally, he met my gaze again, something fierce flickering there. You remember senior year? That camping trip up in the Adirondacks? When we got lost after dark and had to huddle by the fire all night. How could I forget? We ditched the rest of the group to explore. Ended up miles off trail with nothing but a dying flashlight and a bag of marshmallows. We talked about everything. Our shitty dads, dreams of escaping to the city, the girls we pretended to crush on. I'd lain awake long after he passed out, listening to his steady breathing, wondering what it would be like to turn over and pull him close. Yeah, I said softly, freezing our asses off, telling ghost stories that weren't half as scary as real life. He nodded, a ghost of a smile tugging at his lips. That night, I felt alive, like really alive. Not this numb bullshit I carry now. He paused, glancing around the bar as if the walls had ears. Jamie, there's something I've been carrying since then. Something about you. My heart slammed against my ribs, a freight train in my chest. Part of me screamed to shut it down, change the subject to the Mets' latest slump. But the other part, the one that had waited years for this, held its breath. What is it? We finished those beers in tense silence, the air thick with unsaid words. When last call hit, he stood abruptly. Walk with me. Can't do this here. Outside, the rain had started. A light drizzle that turned the sidewalks into mirrors reflecting the city's restless pulse. We wandered toward the East River, shoulders brushing in the narrow gaps between pedestrians. The Brooklyn Bridge loomed ahead, strung with lights like a promise. Alex was quiet at first, hands shoved deep in his pockets, but I could feel the storm building in him. We ended up in that alley, a shortcut to the subway that smelled like wet asphalt and forgotten dreams. He stopped under a flickering street lamp, turning to me with eyes that burned. Jamie, Fuck. This is harder than running into a burning building. Just say it, I urged, stepping closer. The rain dotted my glasses, blurring the edges of him, but not the intensity in his face. He grabbed my collar then, fingers twisting in the fabric like it was his lifeline. His other hand cupped the back of my neck, pulling me in until our foreheads touched. No one will know, he whispered, voice breaking on the words. And then he kissed me. It wasn't gentle. It was desperate, hungry. A collision of all the years we danced around this. His stubble scraped my skin, his mouth tasting of salt and sorrow, and I kissed him back like a man drowning, hands fisting in his shirt. Time fractured. The rain faded to a distant hum. In that moment, under the indifferent city sky, we weren't best friends anymore. We were something more, something terrifying and true. But truths like that don't stay hidden in alleys. They seep out, staining everything they touch. When we broke apart, gasping, his eyes searched mine, wide with a mix of terror and triumph. I've wanted that since we were kids, he admitted, voice raw. Every time I dated those girls, it was you I was picturing. But I couldn't. The department, my family. This fucking town we left behind. It'd destroy me. I nodded, throat tight, because I knew. My own closet was a fortress built on fear. The freelance world was progressive, sure, but one wrong whisper and gigs dried up. And Mom, back home, still sent articles about traditional values, without realizing the knife she twisted. Me too, Alex. God, me too. But we can figure this out. Together. He pulled me into a hug then, fierce and bone-crushing, his chin resting on my head like he was anchoring us both. We stood there until the rain picked up, soaking through our clothes, laughing shakily about how we dodged this bullet for so long. Pizza tomorrow? He murmured into my hair. My place. No hiding. Felt like the start of something unbreakable. For the next few weeks, it was stolen mornings in his cramped Queens apartment, coffee brewed strong and black, his hand tracing lazy patterns on my back as we scrolled through news feeds. We'd text dumb memes during shifts, him from the firehouse, me from coffee shops chasing deadlines. At night, we'd walk the High Line, hands brushing accidentally in the crowds, sharing dreams we'd shelved. Me writing that novel about small-town queers finding their way, him maybe teaching at the academy instead of chasing infernos. But cracks form in even the sturdiest foundations. It started small, a hesitation in his voice when I suggested we grab dinner with my coworker, a guy who'd outed himself last month without the world ending. Not yet, Jay, he'd say, eyes darting. Give it time. I'd bite my tongue, reminding myself he'd just cracked open his own Pandora's box. Patience, I told myself. Love's not a sprint. Then came the barbecue. His crew from the station threw one every Labor Day, a ritual of ribs and bad jokes by the grill in some captain's backyard in Astoria. Come as my plus one, he'd insisted over the phone, voice laced with that boyish excitement I couldn't resist. They know you're my brother from another mother. It'll be fine. I showed up in khakis and a button-down, dressed down from my usual thrift store chic, carrying a six-pack of craft IPA as a peace offering. The yard buzzed with energy. Wives flipping burgers, kids chasing a frisbee, the guys in their off-duty tees swapping war stories. Alex slung an arm around my shoulders as we mingled, his touch casual but electric. This is Jamie, he'd introduce. The guy who keeps me from turning into a total caveman. They ribbed him good-naturedly. Yeah, right, like you need help with that. And I laughed along, feeling for the first time like I belonged in his world. But then his lieutenant, a burly vet named Mike with a mustache that screamed 80s cop, clapped me on the back. So, Jamie, you in the hero business too? Or you the brains behind Alex's brawn? Journalist? I said, sipping my beer to hide the flush creeping up my neck. Mostly puff pieces on the borough's unsung artists. Mike chuckled, eyes twinkling. Artists, huh? Bet you got stories that'd curl these firefighters' toes. He leaned in, voice dropping conspiratorially. Heard you two go way back. Alex ever tell you about that time in high school he punched out the quarterback for calling him a fag? Kid was drunk, but still loyalty like that? Gold. The yard noise dulled to a roar in my ears. Alex, across the grill, froze mid-flip of a burger patty, his face paling. Our eyes met, and in that split second I saw the panic flash, raw animal. He forced a laugh, too loud. Ancient history, Mike. Jamie here's the one who talked me down from juvie. The conversation shifted, but the air had soured. Later, as dusk fell and the fireflies danced, we slipped away to the side yard, hidden by a hedge of overgrown hydrangeas. What the hell was that? I whispered, heart pounding not from fear, but from the hurt blooming sharp in my chest. He raked a hand through his hair, pacing the grass. It was nothing. Kid was a bully, that's all. Doesn't mean shit. But it does, I pressed, stepping into his path. You defended me? Back then? Why didn't you ever say? Because I was scared. Okay? His voice cracked, the vulnerability from that alley night resurfacing like a bruise. Scared of what it meant. That maybe I wasn't just standing up for my buddy, that I felt it too, deep down. And if I admitted that, everything changed. I reached for him, but he flinched back, glancing toward the house where laughter echoed. Alex, we're not kids anymore. We don't have to hide. His jaw set, that stubborn line I knew too well. Easy for you to say. You write articles, sip lattes with your artsy friends. My world, this brotherhood, Jay. Loyalty. One wrong move and I'm the punchline. Or worse, out. The words landed like punches, each one stealing my breath. So what, we go back to pretending? Beers and bro hugs. Like that kiss never happened. He deflated, shoulders slumping. I don't know. I just need time. He pulled me into a quick, fierce hug, murmuring against my temple. I love you, man. You know that. But as he walked back to the party, leaving me in the shadows, I wondered if love was enough to bridge the chasm widening between us. The weeks after the barbecue were a slow unraveling. Texts went unanswered for hours, then days. When we did meet, it was at neutral ground, the bar, the gym, places where touches could be accidental, words platonic. I'd catch him staring, that hunger in his eyes, but he'd look away, cracking a joke to fill the silence. My own life mirrored the fracture. Deadlines slipped, my novel's outline gathered dust on my desk. Nights blurred into mornings with a bottle of cheap bourbon, scrolling old photos of us. Grinning at graduation, arms slung around each other after his first save. One crisp October evening, as leaves turned the parks into fire, I couldn't take it anymore. I showed up at his firehouse unannounced, the brick facade looming like a sentinel under sodium lights. The bay doors were open, trucks gleaming, a few guys shooting the shit over coffee. Alex spotted me from the loft, descending the stairs 2 at a time, concern etching his face. G? What's wrong? He pulled me into the side office, a cramped space smelling of oil and adrenaline. Everything? I blurted, the dam breaking. This half-life we're living. It's killing me. I can't be your secret anymore, Alex. If we're doing this, we're all in. Or we end it clean. His face crumpled, hands balling into fists at his sides. You think I want this? Hiding like some coward? Every day at roll call, I see the rainbow stickers some guys slap on their lockers. Quiet support, they call it. But talk to them one-on-one? Just don't ask, don't tell all over again. And my sister, she just had her kid. Asked when I'm settling down. What do I say? Hey, Auntie's gay uncle's in love with his best friend? The confession hung there, heavy as smoke. In love. He'd said it. My knees buckled, and I sank onto the rickety desk, pulling him down with me. Then we fight for it. Together. Start small, tell one person. Me, I'll back you. We've faced worse. He searched my face, the war raging behind his eyes. Finally, he nodded, slow and solemn. Okay, Mike first. Tomorrow after shift. Relief flooded me, warm and dizzying. We kissed there, soft and tentative. The door cracked open to the world outside. Felt like victory, a first step on a bridge we'd build plank by plank. But betrayal doesn't announce itself with fanfare. Creeps in on whispers and well-meaning lies. The call came 2 days later, while I was elbow-deep in a diner interview for a piece on immigrant bakers. My phone buzzed on the Formica table, Alex's name lighting the screen. Hey, hero, I answered, smiling at the memory of his promise. Silence stretched, then his voice, strained, distant. Jay, we need to talk. Not over the phone. My stomach dropped. What's wrong? Did something happen with Mike? Just meet me at the river, Pier 17. Now. I bolted, hailing a cab through traffic that crawled like molasses. The pier was alive with tourists snapping selfies against the Manhattan skyline, but Alex stood apart, at the railing, staring at the water churning below. Rain from earlier left puddles mirroring the clouds, and his posture, hunched, defeated, sent ice through my veins. Alex! I touched his arm, but he jerked away like I'd burned him. Don't. The word was a whip crack. He turned, eyes red-rimmed, face a mask of anguish. I told Mike. About us. Pride swelled, warring with the dread. And? How'd it go? He laughed, bitter and hollow. How'd it go? He laughed, Jay. Said I was pulling his leg, that we were just those close bros everyone jokes about. Then he got serious, Told me to think about my career. Said there's a promotion coming, but whispers like this, they stick. And then, fuck. Then he called Sarah. Sarah. His ex from the academy days, the one who dumped him for being emotionally unavailable. They'd stayed friendly, orbiting the same social circle. My mouth went dry. What did she say? Nothing at first. Just listened. Then she showed up at the station this morning, all concerned. Pulled me aside. Said she'd heard rumors and wanted to help me sort it out. His voice dripped sarcasm, but underneath was a wound festering. She thinks I'm confused, traumatized from the job. Offered to set me up with her cousin. A nice girl, stable. Like I'm some phase you inflicted on me. The words sliced deep, each one a betrayal not just of us, but of the man I'd loved in silence for years. So that's it? One conversation and we're done? Because your ex thinks you're straight passing? No! He slammed a fist on the railing, the metal ringing. A jogger glanced our way, but we were just two guys arguing in the city din. It's not her. Everything. The looks at the station today subtle but there. Mike clapping me on the back like I'm fragile. And my phone's blowing up with texts from back home. Mom asking if I'm okay. Like she knows. Sarah must have called her. Panic clawed at me. Our worlds colliding. The fragile bubble we'd built popping under the weight of judgment. We knew this would happen. The fallout. But we can weather it. We. He whirled on me, eyes blazing. You don't get it, Jamie. You're out there, free to write your truths. I save lives for a living. One scandal and I'm sidelined. Labeled the gay firefighter who couldn't hack it. And you'd be the guy who turned your best friend. The accusation hung poisonous. I stepped back, the pier tilting under me. Turned you? Like I'm some predator? Alex, you kissed me first. You whispered those words. He deflated, rubbing his face with both hands. I know. God, I know. But I can't. I can't lose it all. Not for this. Not yet. His voice broke on the last word, and he reached for me, tentative. Maybe we pause, just until the heat dies down. Be friends again. See if it's real. The river rushed below, indifferent to the pieces of my heart scattering on the wind. Pause. Friends. Words that gutted me deeper than any outright rejection. Real. I echoed, voice trembling. It's as real as the air in my lungs. But if that's what you need. I walked away then, the city's hum swallowing my sobs. Behind me he called my name once, twice, but I didn't turn. The bridge lights blurred through tears, a constellation of what-ifs. The months that followed were a masterclass in survival. I threw myself into work, churning out articles on everything from queer poets in the village to the gentrification eating Bushwick alive. My novel took shape in fevered bursts, fictionalized us, two boys from the sticks chasing city lights, only to learn love's cost. Friends noticed the hollows under my eyes, the way I'd ghost mid-conversation, but I waved them off with smiles that didn't reach. Just the grind, I'd say. Alex tried. Texts at first, apologetic and sparse. Miss you, man. Coffee? Then voicemails, voice thick with regret. Jay, I fucked up. Let's talk. I deleted them all, each one a fresh scar. But the universe, cruel jester that it is, conspired to throw us together. It was Christmas Eve, the city a frenzy of twinkling lights and bundled crowds. I'd volunteered at a shelter uptown. Ironic, handing out meals to the invisible while feeling untethered myself. As the night wound down, snow flurrying soft and silent, I stepped out into the cold, collar turned up against the wind. He was there, leaning against a lamppost, breath fogging in the chill. Parka zipped to his chin, hands in mittens. Ridiculous on his broad frame, but it softened him, made him look like the boy from our pickup truck days. Jamie. I froze, the snowflakes catching in my lashes. What are you doing here? Saw the volunteer post on your Insta. Figured. Yeah. He pushed off the post, closing the distance in 2 strides. Up close, the exhaustion etched him. New lines around his eyes, stubble shadowing his jaw. I've been an idiot. A coward. Every day without you is Empty. Words I dreamed of, but now they landed hollow. You chose that emptiness, Alex, for your career. Your world. He winced, deservedly. I know. And it's cost me everything that mattered. He pulled a crumpled envelope from his pocket, holding it out. Resignation letter. Submitted this morning. Mike tried to talk me out of it, said I was overreacting, that no one cared. But I do. I care what it makes me. Hiding from you. My breath caught, the paper trembling in the wind. You quit? For us? Not just us. For me. Turns out, saving lives doesn't mean much if you're not living your own. He stepped closer, snow dusting his hair like powdered sugar. I told Sarah off, told Mom too. Over turkey dinner, can you believe it? She cried, but then hugged me, said she'd always known, deep down. And the crew. Half of them showed up at my door last week with beers and a welcome to the club banner. Turns out, I'm not the first. Tears pricked, hot against the cold. The city faded. The honks, the holiday cheers. Leaving just us, two men in the snow, rewriting our story. Why now? I whispered, voice breaking. Because losing you showed me what betrayal really is. Not the world's judgment, but my own. He cupped my face, thumbs brushing away melting flakes. I'm all in, Jay. If you'll have me. I searched his eyes, finding the boy from the stars, the hero from the blaze, the lover from the alley. You whispered, no one will know that night, I said softly. But I want the world to know. Every messy, beautiful part. His smile broke then, radiant as dawn. Then let's shout it. Starting with you. We kissed under that street lamp, snow swirling like confetti. The city our witness. It wasn't perfect. No grand gestures or fairy tale bows. There were therapy sessions ahead, awkward family Zooms, job hunts in a market that chewed up dreamers. But in that moment, with his arms around me and the promise of dawn breaking over the skyline, I knew we'd build something real. Human, flawed, and fiercely ours. Because love isn't a whisper in the dark. It's the roar that follows, echoing through the canyons of who we become. The rain had turned to a steady patter by the time we stumbled into his apartment. Clothes clinging like second skins, laughter bubbling up between shivers. His place was a firefighter's haven, sparse, functional, with a worn leather couch facing a TV mounted above a shelf of commendations and dog-eared paperbacks. We didn't make it past the entryway. He kicked the door shut, backing me against it, kisses turning fervent as hands explored with the urgency of the long denied. God, Jamie, he murmured against my throat, voice husky with wonder. How did we wait this long? I arched into him, fingers threading through his damp hair. Practice? I teased, but there was no levity in it. Only the ache of years compressed into this night. We moved to the couch eventually, shedding layers like old selves, talking in the quiet aftermath about the what-ifs we'd voiced 1,000 times but never with this intimacy. That first week was a blur of discovery. Mornings tangled in sheets that smelled of him, smoke and citrus soap, whispered plans over takeout Chinese. What if we road trip the coast? He'd suggest, tracing my knuckles as sunlight slanted through blinds. Big, sir. Those cliffs like something out of a movie. I'd counter with Chicago, the architecture that felt like stories etched in steel. And we'd laugh, plotting a life unbound by fear. But reality nipped at the edges. A text from his captain about an overtime shift. My inbox flooding with rejections from lit mags. We navigated it with the ease of old habits, but now laced with new tenderness. A hand on the small of my back as we cooked pasta. His head on my shoulder during late-night movies. It felt sustainable, like we'd finally synced to the same rhythm. The barbecue invitation came mid-August, casual over beers at the Anchor. Crew thing, he said, clinking bottles. You in? His eyes held that hopeful glint, the one that made no impossible. Wouldn't miss it, I replied, ignoring the flutter of unease. His world was a monolith, brothers forged in fire, bonds thicker than blood. Introducing me as more than the buddy? It was a test, one I wanted to ace. Labor Day dawned sticky, the air humming with cicadas. I arrived fashionably late, bearing IPAs and a forced nonchalance. The yard pulsed with life. Smoke curling from the grill, laughter booming as tales of close calls escalated with each beer. Alex greeted me with a bear hug, lingering a beat too long, his whisper tickling my ear. "You look good enough to eat." Heat flooded me, but I played it cool, mingling with names I'd heard in stories. There was Tommy, the rookie with a sleeve of tattoos. Lena, the paramedic who'd patched Alex up post-blaze. Mike, the lieutenant whose bark hit a soft spot for strays. They welcomed me like family, ribbing Alex about his fancy journalist pal, who probably couldn't lift a hose. As the sun dipped, stories turned personal. Mike, 3 beers deep, launched into high school yarns. "Remember that quarterback dust-up, Alex? Punching the dude for slinging slurs at your boy here." The group chuckled, but my beer paused halfway to my lips. Alex's face tightened, spatula hovering. "Water under the bridge, Mike." But Mike plowed on, oblivious. "Nah, it was epic. Kid called Jamie well, you know." Alex laid him out flat. "Loyalty, boys. That's what it's about." The air shifted, charged like pre-storm static. Conversations fragmented, eyes flicking our way. I forced a laugh, but inside, questions swirled. Had he really done that? For me? And why hide it? Later, in the hydrangea shadows, the truth spilled. His fear, our shared youth's terror. "It meant I saw you differently," he confessed. "And that scared the shit out of me." We clung to each other, the party's glow a distant hearth. "We're past that," I soothed. "But no more secrets." He nodded, but doubt lingered in his eyes, a seed that would sprout thorns. That promise held, fragile as autumn leaves. September brought a rhythm, his shifts ending with texts. "Home soon. Save me some of that stir-fry?" My evenings drafting queries while his snores rumbled from the bedroom. We ventured out cautiously. Brunch at a queer-friendly spot in Williamsburg, holding hands under the table like contraband. The world didn't end. A few double takes, but mostly indifference, the city's great equalizer. Yet the barbecue's echo persisted. Alex grew quieter after calls from home, his mom's voice tinny through the speaker. "When you bringing a nice girl around, honey?" He'd mute, pull me close, but the tension coiled. A spring wound tight. I pushed back gently. "Tell her. Rip the Band-Aid." "Soon," he'd murmur, kissing my temple. "After the holidays. Don't want to ruin Thanksgiving." Patience frayed at the edges. My own milestones loomed, a novel pitch to an agent, a feature in the Village Voice on hidden queer histories. Success tasted bittersweet without him fully there, cheering from the shadows. October's chill mirrored our cooling. A double shift left him crashing through the door at dawn, reeking of ash. I woke to his silhouette in the kitchen, staring at the coffee pot like it held answers. "Bad one?" I asked, slipping arms around his waist. "Multi-alarm in the Bronx. Lost 2. His voice was lead. "Kids inside. I keep seeing their faces." We held vigil that day, words inadequate against grief's tide. But in the quiet, he opened, "This job is who I am. But with you I want more. Balance." "Like what?" I prompted, hopeful. "Teaching, maybe. Training newbies. Less frontline, more legacy." His hand covered mine, warm despite the chill. "And us out proud. No more pauses." Elation surged. That night, we walked the promenade in Brooklyn Heights, skyline a silver thread across the river. He stopped at the railing, pulling a small box from his pocket. Not a ring, but a key worn and familiar. "To the apartment. Make it ours." Tears pricked as I accepted, the metal biting cold. "I love you," I said, the words a vow. "Love you more," he replied, sealing it with a kiss that tasted of forever. But forevers are illusions in the city. November hit with a vengeance. My agent passed on the novel. Too introspective. Darling? Needs more plot. His station hit with budget cuts, morale plummeting. We snapped more small barbs over undone dishes or forgotten plans. "You're always working," he'd accuse. And you're always retreating, I'd fire back. The breaking point brewed at a holiday party. His crew's ugly sweater bash, tinsel-draped and eggnog-fueled. I opted for a festive button-up, but nerves gnawed. Just be yourself, he urged, adjusting my collar. Myself arrived to sidelong glances, whispers trailing like smoke. Tommy clapped my back too hard. Lena asked pointed questions about dating life. Mike pulled Alex aside mid-toast, their heads bent close. I nursed spiked cider, paranoia blooming. Later, in the host's dim hallway, I overheard, "Rumors, kid. Sarah mentioned something. You okay?" Alex's reply low, "It's nothing. Old news. Nothing." The word echoed as I slipped out for air, chest tight. Back home, confrontation simmered. What was that with Mike? Damage control, he sighed. Sarah's stirring shit. Telling concerned friends I'm going through something. And you let her? Fury laced my voice. What choice? Call her out? Confirm it. He paced, agitation crackling. I need time, Jay, to handle this my way. Your way is hiding. The fight escalated, words as weapons, my insecurities, his fears. We slept back to back, the bed a chasm. Reconciliation came dawn-lit, apologies over burnt toast. I'm scared, he admitted, of losing you to this mess. Then fight, I urged. With me. He agreed, but the seed from the barbecue had rooted deep, tendrils wrapping our joy. By December, the strain showed. Texts lagged. Dates canceled for emergencies. I buried in work, interviewing elders for a piece on Stonewall's echoes. Their resilience a mirror to my fracturing resolve. Christmas loomed, a beacon and a bomb. Come home with me, he pleaded over phone. Face mom together. Temptation warred with caution. Your terms. Full disclosure. After pie. I relented, packing with trepidation. The train ride upstate was silent, snow-blanketed fields blurring past. His family's farmhouse glowed welcoming, but tension hummed beneath the cheer. Dinner was a minefield, small talk skirting edges, his sister's knowing glances. Post-pie, in the den by the fire, he cleared throat. Mom, Dad, Jamie and I, we're together. Silence stretched, then his mom's tears, not rejection, but release. Knew it since you were boys, she said, hugging us both. His dad grunted approval, clapping shoulders. Elation crested. Back in the city, we toasted with cheap champagne, bodies entwined. We did it, I whispered, but victory's afterglow faded fast. New Year's brought a call from Mike. Promotion's yours, but tread light. Whispers. Alex withdrew, the high crashing. See, it's never over. Doubt crept back, our bridge trembling. January's gray shroud matched our moods. Alex threw into overtime, the firehouse a refuge from home's truths. I'd wake to empty sheets, his note. Love you. Back late. Love but distant like a postcard from afar. My article dropped. Praised for its heart. But the byline felt hollow without his ritual call. Proud of you, writer boy. Instead, silences stretched, filled with my pacing, his sighs. We clashed over trifles. A forgotten grocery run sparking, "You're never here," his retort. Someone has to pay the rent. Beneath, the real wound festered, his retreat into the closet we'd cracked. One blizzard night, holed up with delivery and Netflix, I broached it. We're drifting, Alex. Talk to me. He paused the screen, face illuminated blue. It's the job. Pressure's on. Chiefs watching for team players. One slip, and what? They find out you're gay? Newsflash. They know. Bitterness edged my tone. His eyes flashed. It's not that simple. Brotherhood's sacred. I betray them. Me too. The question hung sharp. He recoiled. Never you. But I can't risk us for hypotheticals. Hypotheticals became harbingers. February, a station gala. Black tie, spouses on arms. Go as my date? He asked, hopeful. I did, in rented tux, hand in his under the table. Dances were chaste, but eyes lingered. Mike cornered us post-toasts. "Nice couple," he said, tone oily. "Just keep it professional, yeah?" Alex's grip tightened, knuckles white. Drive home was storm-silent, exploding in the garage. "See? This is what I mean. You're letting him dictate us," I yelled, slamming the car door. "Because he's right. One scandal and I'm done. Pension purpose gone. And our purpose? Disposable? Tears hot, I stormed upstairs, packing a bag. "I need space." He blocked the door, desperation raw. "Don't, please. I love you too much to lose this." We made up in tears, bodies seeking solace, but the fracture widened. Trust eroded like Brooklyn's shorelines. March brought spring's teas, but our winter lingered. My novel sold, small press, modest advance, but celebration soured when he bailed for a training drill. Alone at the launch reading, I fielded toasts, heart aching for his empty chair. Texts escalated. "Where are you?" His reply stuck. "Sorry." "Enough." I demanded the meet at the pier, the site symbolism lost on him then. He arrived windswept, coat flapping. "Jay, talk." But I unloaded the pain, the isolation. "You're choosing fear over us." His defense crumbled into confession. Sarah's meddling, Mom's worried calls, the crew's subtle shifts. "I told Mike," he admitted. "About us." Hope flickered. And laughter, concern. Then the calls, backlash I can't outrun. So pause. The word tasted ash. Temporarily. To protect what we have. Protect? This destroys. I walked, his pleas fading. Months blurred. No contact ironclad. Work consumed, promotions, readings, but nights hollowed. Friends urged therapy. I went, unpacking our knot. Summer scorched, mirroring inner fire. A mutual acquaintance's wedding invite. Separate, but fate intervened. I spotted him across the venue, tux sharp, dateless. Our eyes met, he approached tentative. "Congratulations on the book," he said, voice strained. "Thanks." Awkward small talk, but undercurrent pulled. Outside, under stars, he cracked. "I quit, Jay. Last week. Can't live half in." Shock, then wariness. "Why now?" "Because without you, nothing's whole." But I held back, wounds fresh. "Prove it," I challenged. No pauses. He nodded, but I left, needing more than words. Fall returned, leaves a metaphor for shedding. Therapy honed my boundaries. Freelance boomed. Then Christmas Eve shelter shift, his silhouette in snow. His presence shattered my resolve. Snow muting the world's clamor. "Alex?" I breathed, bag slipping from numb fingers. He stepped forward, mittens shedding flakes. "Don't say anything yet. Just hear me." I nodded, throat tight, as he poured it out. The resignation's finality. Therapy dives into his fears, confrontations with Sarah. Told her to back off or lose me forever. Crew beers where he'd owned his truth. Half hugged me. Half need time. But it's mine now, not theirs. "And Mom?" I asked, voice small. Visits weekly. Baking pies, asking about her. Then laughing, correcting to you. "She's fierce, Jay. Like you." Tears welled, the cold sharpening them. "You hurt me. Deep." "I know." He dropped to one knee, not proposal but humility in the snow. "I'm here to rebuild, brick by brick. If you'll let me." The shelter door banged, volunteers calling me back. "Shift's not over," I said, stalling. "Then I'll wait." He did, shoveling paths, serving soup, charming the kids with fireman tales minus the flames. By closing, exhaustion mingled with thaw. We walked to the subway, shoulders brushing. "Coffee tomorrow?" he ventured. One step, but steps multiplied. Mornings at diners, plotting his teaching cert. Evenings co-writing my sequel, his insights sharpening mine. Climax crested Memorial Day, a station reunion, his first post-quit. Invites whispered, attendance sparse. Mike cornered him. "Miss you, kid, but this choice." Alex stood tall. "My choice, and Jamie's my partner. Deal with it." Fists clenched, But Mike backed down, muttering respect. Outside, Alex retched in bushes, catharsis, not defeat. We drove home, his hand in mine. Did it? He gasped. You did. Pride swelled. Our bond reforged stronger. Summer bloomed full. Road trip west. Big Sur's cliffs our backdrop for vows unspoken. He started adjuncting at the academy. My novel toured indie shelves. Conflicts lingered. Family holidays tense. Societal jabs sharp. But we faced them tandem, humanism in the mess. Fall brought proposal, not grand, but ours. Atop the bridge, city lights witnesses. Marry me? He asked, ring simple silver. Yes? I whispered, echoing his long-ago words. And everyone will know. Winter closed our circle. Small wedding in the farmhouse. Crew mingling with my artsy crew. Mom's pie centerpiece. Vows raw. Through fires and fractures, I choose you. Life post-vows? No fairy tale. Therapy ongoing, careers ebbing flowing. But love deepened, human, resilient. In our Brooklyn walk-up, under stars glimpsed through skyline haze, we built not perfection, but presence. And in quiet nights, his whisper evolved. Everyone knows, and it's everything.